The indictment of former Prime Minister José Luis Rodríguez Zapatero in the Plus Ultra case is getting closer. Let's get started. Hello everyone and welcome to a new edition of Precautionary Measures. We're coming back strong after Holy Week. As you know, this Tuesday the trial for the Coldo scheme begins at the Supreme Court, which will put the former official in the dock, right-hand man of Pedro Sánchez in the government and in the Socialist Party, José Luis Ábalos, his former advisor Coldo Garcia, and the businessman Victor Daldama. Well, today we're going to share some more information related to another big shot, none other than the former Prime Minister, José Luis Rodríguez Zapatero, and about the Plus Ultra case. What we're going to share is very important. As always, we'll show it on the screen. Stay until the end of the video because we're going to give a lot of details about what's happening right now in the National Court within the framework of this case, Plus Ultra, which, as we said, directly implicates the former Prime Minister, José Luis Rodríguez Zapatero, but obviously he's not the only one involved in this corruption story, and we're going to share it. Putting it on the screen right now, here you have the information so you can follow it much more easily from home. The indictment of former Prime Minister José Luis Rodríguez Zapatero in the National Court for the Plus Ultra case is getting closer. The head of the Central Investigating Court number 4 of the National Court, José Luis Calama, took over the investigation of the case this month after the head judge of Investigating Court number 15 in Madrid stepped aside, Esperanza Collazos. Last week, Calama ordered the arrest of a man allegedly connected to the Plus Ultra case on the Caribbean island of Aruba, specifically the businessman Luis Felipe Baca. The judge also ordered this arrest after extending the secrecy of the proceedings for another month. You already know that this case is still being investigated under secrecy. When the secrecy is lifted, it's going to be explosive. Well, legal sources we've consulted in Medidas Cautelares and in Libertad Digital emphasize that Judge Calama is an expert in economic crimes. He is known for carrying out very precise investigations with the goal of making sure the investigations don't drag on forever and that the accused face trial as soon as possible. In other words, he likes to get straight to the point and wants alleged criminals to be tried as soon as possible. The judge is currently studying the case and putting it in order since it came in a very messy state, according to what we hear from the Investigating Court number 15 in Madrid. Pay attention to this. Judge Calama won't hesitate when the time comes to charge Zapatero, since he doesn't make distinctions between people in the cases he investigates. However, the investigation is still under seal. It's too soon to know if it will remain secret for a long time or if it will be lifted. In the coming days, either partially or completely, the agents of the National Police's Economic and Fiscal Crime Unit, UDF, are eager, they tell us, to prove themselves with the investigation of this case. The same sources consulted emphasize that Judge Calama has only received, and this is important, the confidential part of the case. Plus Ultra, which focuses on the investigation of an alleged crime of money laundering of Venezuelan funds through operations in Spain, Switzerland, or France. The National Court will not investigate for the moment the responsibility of CEPI or the Ministry of Finance in the €53 million bailout of the airline. Since the investigation of this bailout was already carried out and closed by Madrid's Investigating Court number 15 in January 2023, however, Judge Calama can investigate the alleged receipt of illegal kickbacks after that bailout was approved, okay? Very important. I remind you that the businessman Victor Daldama has stated in numerous interviews that former Prime Minister Zapatero personally pressured for the approval of the Plus Ultra bailout. According to his account, Zapatero met with the then Minister of Transport, José Luis Ábalos, at the ministry and demanded that he bail out the airline. Ábalos allegedly refused at first, but Zapatero told him it was a direct order from Pedro Sánchez. Daldama also claimed that a transfer of €10 million was made to Panama as a commission taken from the €53 million in bailout funds, which would supposedly benefit Zapatero and the Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez. Attention, because we're being told that it can't be ruled out that, after the statements made by businessman Victor Daldama about the alleged receipt of kickbacks from the Plus Ultra bailout, Judge Calama may end up summoning him to testify as a witness. En el transcurso de la... Additionally, I also have to remind you of another important point in the context of the Plus Ultra case. We revealed it a few weeks ago. The tax authorities are required to investigate Zapatero for an alleged tax offense after he admitted in the Senate Investigation Committee to taking flights paid for by the company Petróleos de Venezuela S.A., PDVSA, in the context of the Plus Ultra case. The tax offense could exist if, according to the investigation, the amount attributable on the personal income tax return for those trips paid for by Nicolas Maduro's regime and the Venezuelan state oil company PDVSA exceeds 120,000 euros. In other words, that the amount resulting from including those trips in the personal income tax exceeds that amount. There is, as we are told, a precedent, which was the investigation carried out on Juan Carlos III after the Zagatka Foundation paid for private jet trips that the former king had not declared to the tax authorities. It should be noted that these facts, which we revealed here at Libertad Digital, could lead to this mandatory investigation by the tax authorities actually taking place. Because, as we have also published on Medidas Cautelares at Libertad Digital, a complaint has already been filed about this matter. Okay, by a private individual, so that this doesn't fall on deaf ears and so that these facts can be investigated. So that the tax authorities investigate those trips by Zapatero paid for by PDVSA by Nicolas's regime, to see if he declared them or not in his tax return, and therefore whether he may have committed an alleged tax offense or not. The former Prime Minister. So pay close attention. We really need to be very, very alert to this Plus Ultra case because of the implications it could have. We're talking about the possible imminent indictment of former Prime Minister José Luis Rodríguez Zapatero. We'll see. What direction will the investigation take now that Judge José Luis Calama of the National Court has taken charge of it? Because everything will be investigated. The alleged illegal kickbacks that may have been collected as a result of that 53 million euro bailout will be investigated. And according to Aldama, 10 million euros out of those 53 million euros would have gone as a commission in Panama to Zapatero and also to Pedro Sanchez. All of this will be investigated within the framework of this procedure. And of course, it is not ruled out that even Aldama could be called as a witness to testify in court, what he has already said in several media outlets. Lastly, let me remind you that Aldama on Ana Rosa Quintana's show on Telecinco a few weeks ago showed the journalist, the host, a photograph of the goods that were being transported on Plus Ultra. And I can already tell you that it would be a very serious matter. A real scandal, those sensitive goods that were being transported on Plus Ultra. So be careful with this court case because it could blow up not only in Zapatero's face but also in the face of the current Prime Minister, Pedro Sanchez. And that's it for this edition of Medidas Cautelares. I hope you found the information interesting. I'm looking forward to the video. Leave me your opinions. Do you think this is going to keep escalating? That it could directly affect not only Zapatero but also Pedro Sanchez? Leave me your opinions. If you liked the video, feel free to share it with your family, friends, or co-workers. And of course, you already know that you can also become members in the Elegidos tier for less than 3 euros a month or in the Supremos tier for less than 7 euros a month. You can also contribute via Bizum, you already know that. You can make a transfer via Bizum, which is easier, so we can keep going strong. And here on this channel about precautionary measures, we tell you everything that other media don't dare report or choose to hide. And also other first-hand information that you won't find on any other YouTube news channel. You already know that you can make those contributions via Bizum at 627-556-370. That's 627-5563-6370. 627-6370-627-62755. I'm telling you that this information reaches everyone because information is power. See you soon.